Hey there, welcome to another episode of Hooks and Ladders, where we talk about songwriting and we have special guests, and we've got a fantastic special guest with us today. But first, my name is Blair Packham.
My name is Allister Bradley, and our guest today is Annelise Noronha. Hey, Annelise.
Hi.
Welcome back. Annelise is actually going to be our special guest at a weekend workshop in February, where we listen to our participants' songs. We take a look deep inside the songs, pull out what's working, look for opportunities, and actually mentor you through rewriting.
Rewriting.
Yeah, all about rewriting. Mm-hmm. But today I wanted to ask you about, because you're a multi-instrumentalist, because you're comfortable on several different instruments, I wonder how that translates to your songwriting. Do you find that, oh, maybe today I'm going to start with this instrument in my hand or with that instrument in my hand, and does that? I'm doing the what's his name, Jason Bateman, question where the question just goes on forever and has several facets to the question. But I'll just pass it over to you with that.
All right. Okay. First of all, if you hear snoring, it's the dog. She's sitting beside me down there. So primarily, it's funny that you say that I'm proficient on many instruments, because I would not consider myself totally proficient on many instruments. I would consider myself proficient on guitar and then a jack of all trades in other departments. But yeah, exactly. So I would say 80% of the stuff I write, I'm writing with a guitar in my hand, but then very intentionally not with a guitar in my hand for the other 20%. I recently inherited Rob Pilch's piano, upright piano, which I love dearly, and it sounds so beautiful in my house. Mm. So I have been inspired to start ideas from the piano lately, and they do change my writing because I feel like I have to rely more on my ear than actual musical knowledge. And so when I'm on a guitar, I'm thinking about keys and scales, and not consciously, but subconsciously, because you have that information in your head. Sorry, my phone just bleeped. I'll turn that off. Rookie mistake.
We all just checked our phones. Our viewers just checked their phones.
Everyone heard that in the side view. I know, it's rookie mistake. Why would that be on right now? Yeah, so that does for sure. I also find that like for my new record that I would like to write, because it is going to be sort of like a British post-punk record, I find that I will go to records I love. This is really convoluted and only really works for someone who's also like technically a little bit proficient, is I will go onto records I love, find drum beats that I love, rip them, like recreate them with samples, and then pick up a bass and start writing sort of riff rock with a bass, because I find that when I do it on a guitar, I fall into patterns that I always fall into, whereas on a different instrument, it breaks those patterns a little bit, or makes me work harder for something, and I think that is very useful. It comes in handy too, like even writing to brief stuff too, as you know that I do, where if you want to sort of, if you want to write a piano track, you start on a piano. If you want to write on a guitar, on a bass, then write on a bass, like in those senses. But for me personally as a writer, I do intentionally will, depending on sort of the stylistically what I'm doing, will pick up something different than a guitar.
I think it's important to break habits. Some things work for you, but if you find you've written, 10 ballads, slow, sad songs, maybe you should change it up a little bit. If you've written 10, songs in A minor, probably time to try a different key, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that writing with different instruments feeds into that. Do you ever do, I do this sometimes. Do you ever write without an instrument at all?
Sure. Melodies will come to me and I will put them into my phone, but not complete ideas. Can you write a whole complete idea with your voice?
Yeah, because I'm really a genius, and I've done it a couple of times. So apparently, I've only been a genius a couple of times. But once on a drive to Chicago, it was an 9-hour drive from Toronto, and I had this idea for a song. And as I drove, I wrote the whole thing, and it's a song that I play, and it's one of my best songs.
Interesting.
When I put the guitar to it later, I found a couple of more interesting chords than I had originally planned on, just here and there for emphasis, and it worked. But yeah, it worked for me.
Have you ever? This is a kooky one.
Yeah.
Have you ever dreamt a song and then written it? Because that's happened to me twice in my life.
I've only done snippets, so tell me about that. That's great.
So the first one was the more completed idea. I had. There was an artist that I sort of spent time with named Cormac McCleary, who was Byron Wong was producing his record, and he has this classic, he's very Irish, and he's the kind of guy that would have a few pints and get up on a chair in a bar and sing fucking Danny Boy and break hearts. Like, he's got that voice. Boy. And I had this. I fell asleep thinking about his voice, and I woke up with this song in my head that I was like, I need to write this for Cormac. It's going to be amazing. And I wrote it for him, and I sent it to Byron. And Byron was like, I love this song. It's not for Cormac. So the song has never existed anywhere, but it wasn't a bad song. And It was a completed idea. In my dream, it was not a completed idea. It was sort of the chorus, so I did have to complete it in my waking stages, but the chorus of the song and sort of the push of the vocal, like the vocal limit, was a thing in my head for him specifically.
That sounds amazing. And of course, in your dream, or lying in bed, you weren't playing a piano or a guitar. So
no.
You were imagining the melody and the lyric together. That's great. Yeah. Paul McCartney famously was said to have written the melody to Yesterday in a Dream.
Did you watch? Of course you guys have both watched the documentary, right? The Peter Jackson documentary. Not that this really has anything to do with the question of different instruments per se, but man, to be a fly on the wall and hear some of the writing, like hear famous songs that are so close to what you know as the song, and then hear that moment where they find it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, I want to write with people. Like, that was the thing that went through my head. Yeah. We're so insular. We write in our rooms unless we're intentionally writing together for something. But to be able to just like bash out ideas without ego in front of your mates that you trust to hold you there musically, like, what a glorious experience.
Yes,
Did you have that with the Jitters? Were you really bandy, or was that kind of like you wrote and the band was the band?
I wrote and the band was the band until near the end, when they wanted to write as well, and I was open to it. I was a little resistant only because we had done it this other way, and we'd had some success doing it. But I wanted to keep the band together, so we did write together. We wrote music. I found it frustrating because my challenge is always writing lyrics. I want to write really good lyrics, and so writing with the band, where they weren't really contributing lyrically, but they were contributing musically, it wasn't any less frustrating for me, because they just weren't, they weren't adding anything.
The other thing that I really admired about in that Beatles documentary is how seriously they took all ideas, like all of the kooky things that Ringo Starr might write, like you're writing Let It Be and he's writing Octopus's Garden. You know what I mean? And to take that seriously and give it just as much weight as anything else, to me it was so beautiful. I was like, I judge so much stuff, and I'm probably closing myself down to things that could be amazing. You know what I mean? Because you're so, especially as a lyricist, you get really judgy about stuff that isn't stylistically what your brain would do. Anyway, that's my side rant about the Beatles. I was just like, you need to be way more open-minded and really just lose your ego at the door for writing, even with yourself. Like, we put those things on ourselves, like you're saying, you have an expectation of yourself to write lyrics at a certain level, and my brain's just like, just write all of the things.
Yeah.
Like and in fact, from your last song studio and the Lyle Lovett thing, where he said his advice was write all of the songs, like the shitty ones and the good ones. Just write them all. Let them all come out of your brain and finish them all. And that, coupled with the Beatles thing, was like, man, that's what I need to work on. That is my shortcoming, is that I feel like I'm closed. As soon as I think it's not going to be great, I shut it down. Whereas really, you should let it all out.
Yeah, there was certainly lots that Paul McCartney was putting out in those sessions that wasn't great, and yet he just kept going, and they supported him. Even if there was a little sniping going on here and there, they were still there, just there supporting him, allowing it to come out, and it was really, really beautiful. Well. All right, we got to wrap up, but as always, it's fantastic to see you and talk to you and hear what you have to say about this.
Thanks. I'm sorry I got off on the Beatles tangent.
It's a tangent Allister knows, I will always go down that road.
And we could talk all day long. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll have you back for another conversation sometime.
I know. We should do this just for fun. So
yes.
that we can talk openly.
All right, well, that's another episode of Hooks and Ladders. Join us again next week, and you never know who we're going to have in the studio. Thanks, Annelise.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.